Warning, the following audio transmission is based on theory and is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's Doomsday and its affiliates will not be held liable for anything your dumbass does. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everybody, to It's Doomsday podcast. Today is Sunday, May 22nd. Time is 1800. Joining me tonight, as always, is Al, a.k.a. Big Daddy Prep. How you doing, Al?
I'm doing just fine. Wonderful. Matter of fact, I didn't get blown away last night, and we're still presently holding down the fort here in Arkansas, so we're good.
Very cool, very cool. And guys, we have a special guest on the show today, Texas Prepper Mom. What is up, Texas Prepper Mom?
Hello guys, thank you so much for having me on today. You've been asking me for a while, and I finally decided to grace you with my presence.
Well,
I am very persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when I first met her, and through another social media app, i.e. TikTok, I knew that she was going to be very successful. I knew she was going to be good. I liked her, and I said, well, hey, look here, you're fixing to do a live with me tonight. And I think I caught her off guard. But since then, since I kicked her out of the nest, she has flown and done very good. And I'm very proud of her. I got to be honest with you. She's the best I've ever thrown out there to the world. I guarantee you. That's a fact. Now, she did all the work on her own, but, you know, I felt good about kicking her out of the nest.
So to get this out of the way in the beginning of this, guys, you can follow Texas Prepper Mom on TikTok at Texas Prepper Mom, right? Just Before we get into the show, and we forget to do that later, I just want to make sure we get her information out there. So, Texas Prepper Mom, there's so many questions I have for you and why I wanted to bring you up here onto the show, but why don't you start where you feel comfortable? Like, if you want to talk about how you got into prepping, some of the backstory, where you're at today, what would you like to do?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the questions people always ask is, how long have I been prepping? And that's always a difficult question for me, because how do you answer that when you feel like you've always been prepping? Where do you start that? I grew up in Texas. I grew up along the coast of Texas in Corpus Christi. So we always prepared for hurricanes, right? But we weren't like big preppers. We always had just some water. And when we had to evacuate for hurricanes, we always had that. Does that count as prepping? I don't really think so. You know, I was in the Army. Does any of that training ever count as prepping? Yeah, maybe. I mean, it was kind of like the backbone of things. I always had a little bit of supplies here and there. I have a lot of background in things. I'm a nurse, so there's some history there. So I've always had things. I've always had prepping, but I've always been kind of ashamed of prepping. I think that some of us kind of have, we don't like to share it with people. You know what I mean? There's just some connotations that we don't talk about it to people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think some of us kind of feel like that. We just don't talk about it. We don't talk about it with our family. We just kind of hide it. So I just didn't talk about it. But for me, the biggest thing that really made me start talking about it was the Texas snowstorm, because of how it affected me and everyone around me. We did not have power for just about 3 days straight. And then the next 2 or 3 days, it was hours upon hours of it being out. I have a 5-year-old, now 5-year-old, and it was a very scary time to look at him and not have answers. You know, I thought of myself as a solid prepper right before that. I had tons of supplies. I was prepared to be a Texas prepper. I was prepared. I knew how to handle, the heat. I knew how to handle, food. I could handle anything. I didn't know how to handle snow. I felt like a complete failure as a prepper. And it really kicked me into overdrive after that. And I just thought to myself, if I failed as a prepper, there's other people that have never even started prepping that need direction, that need guidance, that are overwhelmed, don't know where to start. And I want to be able to help them. Because if you've never done prepping, it's an overwhelming process. You have so many people that are giving information, giving misinformation, that are telling you you need, years and years and years worth of supplies. That's overwhelming to start with. So I wanted to be able to say, let's start small and build up from there, because every little milestone that you're able to hit is a win. And everything that you're able to like mark off of your list can keep you going. Okay, I knocked out this. That felt good. Let me keep going, because that always makes me feel good. All right, I knocked out X amount of food. What can I do now? All right, I knocked out this amount of water. All right, that felt good. I knocked out this amount of medical supplies. That felt good. Let me keep going. Every little win that I can do, that other people can do for their family, makes you feel good. And that's what I like to help other people do. So when I was watching TikTok, one of the big things that I saw was a lot of misinformation, and a lot of misinformation on food storage in general. Um, I hate wasting money. I don't know about you guys, but I hate wasting money.
I hate
And
wasting. I hate it.
I hate it. And I saw a lot of people trying to store food in ways that wasn't really going to last for a very long time. And I thought to myself, I'm not the kind, I know that people don't take criticism well. None of us take criticism well, right?
No, no, that's a
So,
human thing.
yeah, so it's not beneficial for me to go and comment, that's not going to work. It's just not. But if I were to put out content that was different content, it would make someone think, wait a second, that's different than what I just saw from this other person. Maybe I should take a second to look into it myself to see what actually is the best way to do this. That's kind of where I started with TikTok. Because if you're seeing it done a couple of different ways, it's going to make you pause for a second and think. I'm seeing things in a couple of different ways. I need to figure out for myself, because one of these is right, one of these is wrong. And that's pretty much why I started doing TikToks, to try to help educate people. And here we are, I think 6 months later.
Oh, you've done a really good job.
Well, thank
I'll,
you.
I'll, I will give you that because you speak to the people that really need to be prepping, i.e., the family people, the moms. Like I said before, the soccer mom that really doesn't know how. She
Right.
finds you to be easier to listen to than a bunch of men that just try to speak down, or somebody tries to overspeak when they're talking about canning and they're in the seventh level of canning.
Mm-hmm.
You speak to the regular person that wants to. That's what I saw in you the very first time I saw you. I said, she can talk to people. She's got a good way about her. And you just stuck out to me. I'll be honest with you. But there are a lot of other preppers do the same thing. But I think you put out good quality content every single time.
And the
Oh,
prepping community, especially you two guys, have been so supportive of me. I have just been so appreciative of you. Al, when you were like, okay, you are going to do a live with me, I was like, what? Oh, I don't know if I can do that. And you just, I mean, you,
I
without
didn't give
being
you a
right next,
choice. I didn't give
you
you a
did
choice.
not. you
No.
you held my hand and you walked me through those questions, and you made me so comfortable. And I have taken that same supportiveness. Anyone new that comes along, I'm like, I will hold your hand the same and I
You
will
know,
guide you along.
Hey preppers, do you want 10% off survival food? Go to www.readywise.com and use code DOOM10 at checkout for 10% off all your survival food needs. Again, that's code DOOM10 at checkout at readywise.com, DOOM10 for 10% off at readywise.com.
Do you know the reason why I didn't give you a choice in that? Because I knew that if you chose not to, you'd be wasting all that energy that you had, because you had a lot of energy, had a lot of knowledge, and it'd be wasting because you wouldn't just go out and do it on your own. Somebody just had to push you out a little bit. But after that, I knew you'd go, and you did. I was very proud. I told my wife, I said, "Yeah, we found us a good one here. She's a good girl. She really is." I said, "Jester and me and all of us got a little community." That's where the little community kind of started right there.
Absolutely.
That's where it started. I'll shut up and leave y'all alone.
I just got to comment on something. I love the community we have. We've built
Yes.
a really good community. There's a lot of great people within that community. And the coolest thing is we're all getting together. We're sharing different information. And it's everything, for the seasoned prepper that's got everything else. And they're just trying to figure out about comms. There's a guy in there for that. If it's a guy that knows everything but medical, there's somebody in there for that. It's and even if you're starting out, like how Texas Prepper Mom mentioned, like, she started out small and achieved goals along the way. I wish I did that. My style of prepping is kind of like running naked backwards through a cornfield. Like,
Hey, you
so
know.
I'm just all over the place with my stuff. It's I'm like, oh crap, I didn't think about this. I need to work on that. I didn't have like a step off point. But like Texas Prepper Mom said, how do you say when you got into this? I feel like I've been doing a lot of this my whole life because of my upbringing, right? But Texas Prepper Mom, when you mentioned the Texas freeze, a lot of people don't realize what was going on with that. I mean, the death toll for that was 246 people, and that wasn't a terror attack. That wasn't like a big doom and gloom situation that we talk about on the show. That was simply poor infrastructure.
That was totally preventable. Totally preventable.
That was. Um, and so I grew up in Texas. I never saw snow until I was 18 years old. I have lived all over the US. I've seen it a couple times as an adult. My now 5-year old, we live a little bit more north than where I grew up. He is now 5 and has now seen snow twice in his life. So, it's coming a bit more frequent. We're not too much more north than where I grew up. When we saw snow coming in the weather report, we were excited. We were thinking to ourselves, it's a picture opportunity. That's what we
Hmm.
were excited for. We weren't thinking to ourselves, oh no, let's prepare for this horrible weather, outage. It was not a fear that we were thinking. It was a photo opportunity because snow doesn't stick around here. It's a 5-minute photo opportunity.
Yep.
We took pictures. We went to bed that night and we woke up that Monday morning to get ready for work. We woke up to freezing homes, no power, and confusion. Our homes are built very different than homes in the north. Our homes are built to let the heat out because we reach temperatures over 100 here. We don't want the heat to stay in our homes. So our insulation and the walls of our homes are built extremely different to northern homes. So any heat that we have is gone. Our fireplaces, a lot of our fireplaces are built very differently. And if we have a gas fireplace, it's not necessarily built for heat, it's built more for decorative. So my gas fireplace, it's pretty, but it doesn't produce a lot of heat. Um, so we were definitely not prepared for that. This was not something to really prepare for. A lot of us did not prepare for. A lot of us got crash courses in power grids and how they work and how they are attached to like the medical centers and the hospitals and where you live, how that is just attached to everything. There was a wonderful sense of community that everyone learned, neighbors checking on neighbors. That was amazing to see. Just reaching out to one another. Do you have things? I have power at my house. Just the things that were affected. I have power, but I don't have water. I have water, but I don't have power. Just the back and forthness. You come over and you get this, and then I'll go and I'll get that. That was amazing to see with people, just the communication there. So it definitely made people kind of wake up and realize that something can happen that you just don't expect. So, yep, that was just a picture opportunity became a nightmare for a lot of people. And as far as the 200 and 62ish, 64ish people that passed, that was confirmed. Um, the numbers are estimated that it may be even more, because there was a lot of people that passed during that time that, well, let's just put it this way. We live in an area that we don't see a lot of people that pass away from snow, that
Right.
pass away from, um, like cold temperatures. There was emergency services that couldn't get to people in time. So if they had frozen, or if there was carbon monoxide, or if there was lots of things that happened, if they didn't get to them in time, it could have been seen as something else. So they couldn't really confirm that it was from that.
Yep.
So there's things to think about as well. So confirmed from the snow, it, yes, was a little less than 300, but there's thoughts that that was probably a lot more. So
The
that's
thing that
something.
kind of puts the squeeze on it for me with that situation. I mean, that's a pretty high death toll. Um, we put things in the media all the time about the school shootings and these individual terror attacks and things like this. This this should have been this should have made bigger headlines. I've brought this story up to people, and a lot of people don't even know that this existed. And to me,
Hmm.
that's just insane. But to not stick on the Texas freeze thing too much, guys, just remember, when you guys are prepping, and if you are new to this, prep for these disasters. Don't just prep for the big scary stuff that we always talk about. Prep for the small stuff too, and I think that's where some people they do come up short. They're thinking about long term apocalyptic scenario, the stuff that could happen right now within our country that's not terror related, that's simply natural disaster or the infrastructure failing, things like that. This is something that is way more likely to happen than a nuke being dropped on us. It's way more likely.
Correct. Very correct. There's all kinds of situations that happen every day, Jester, that are minor, but they're major to the people in that area. Power outage for 12, 15, 18, 20 hours. I mean, that can cause a lot of death. There are a lot of people that must have air conditioning in hot situations, heat and cold situations. What about people at ICU? Well, hospitals only have so much fuel to run generators and things like that. So people can die even in good times when people down the road 50 miles are doing fine. Any situation happens.
Absolutely. We have quite a few preppers that are insulin dependent, and their insulin needs to be refrigerated, and
Yep.
they're trying to work out ways to make sure that they are able to keep their insulin refrigerated. Is solar going to be the way? Just lots of different ways, because if they do not keep it at that certain temperature, that's it. They will not be able to go for more than a couple of days without that insulin. And that's just a scary thought. Anything could happen for them to be without power, you know?
Absolutely. And since you brought up the insulin thing, I've been seeing a lot of videos surfacing lately of um, that people will use the little solar generators, and they'll have those with like either a mini fridge or a portable cooler, and that's what they're using for their insulin now. And they just keep those things going. Like they'll have a Jackery with the panels in the window, and they'll just keep that going all the time, and that's where they'll keep their insulin. So if you are in need of insulin, that is something to think about as a backup, as the solar generator, guys. And I mean, not only just for that, but keep the cell phones charged up in the event of an emergency. Whatever.
Absolutely. And then just having, medications, because That's something that if you have medications that you need to be on, to talk to your doctor about, can I have, an extra 30-day supply, extra, X amount of day, supply. Because if something happens, I mean, anything could happen at any point. Natural disasters are honestly more likely to happen than a lot of other scenarios. I mean, if we're going to be honest, we don't know what might happen, but natural disasters, if we look back in our history, are things that we've experienced more than anything in most areas. Um, we know that we do want to prepare for everything else, but um, we know that natural disasters, tend to hit us. So we want to make sure that we do have our medications, and we can talk to our doctors about, can I have vacation dosages? And they can always give you, 2 weeks worth of medication so that you have them. I take blood pressure medication, so I always have extra dosages of that, um, just so that I have them. I don't want to go without them. That's something that I have to have. Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as far as the blood pressure meds, and what I did is I got my doctor to give me 90-day scripts instead of the 30.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while I'll forget to take one, or this, that, the other. So I'm actually slowly accumulating a backup
Yep,
as time goes on. Texas Prepper Mom, one thing I wanted to get you to talk about, something you do on your TikTok that's very, very cool, is you make your own MREs.
I do.
Yeah, and that is super, super cool. And I notice when you're doing these, you do them in the Mylar, and then you also do them in the jars as well. Why both? If you want to explain that to the listeners.
So I do that for two reasons. I do them in the Mylar bags because I use the Wallaby Mylar bags, um, MRE bags, because the Wallaby MRE bags, you can actually put boiling water into those MRE bags. So that is why I like to package them like that, because all you do is add boiling water and the food's ready to go. So I make tons of those. Those are my MREs. That's why I call them MRE meals. It's freeze dried food or it's instant rice, and it's just a meal. Add boiling water, done. I am always prepared for our bug out bags, or if we're going to go camping, anything like that, or just a meal. It's ready to go. It's an MRE. I can boil water in all sorts of different ways. In the jars, I do them for a couple of reasons. One, when I'm doing the TikToks, it's a lot better visually for you to see the meal in the jar. But another reason is I make the jars so that I can give them away to neighbors, to family, to anyone in need. We are big about community. A lot of us preppers are big about giving food away to anyone that might need something, right? So I make double or triple portions because the MREs that I make in the Mylar bags are individual portions. So anytime I make them in the jars, I make them in what do I make them in? The quart jars. So I'll make, and it's always got meat, it's got veggies, it's got either pasta or it'll have rice in there, it's got seasonings. So far I've made, what have I made so far? I made a barbecue brisket bowl the other day. I made chicken tacos. I've made mushroom, asparagus, rice, all sorts of different meals. But I make them in the big jars. That way it's a family size, and all anyone would have to do is just boil some water and go. So it's emergency meals or even just a family meal, family nights that I can just give them away to people. Because sometimes it's just a financial issue. If someone is struggling on a paycheck, hey, are you hungry? Here you go. Here's some food. Sometimes it's just, I don't get paid till tomorrow. You guys got something? Here you go. Have this. Take this. Go.
I
So
think
that's
that's one
another
of the
reason.
I think that's one of the things I like the most about your content is that you're teaching your son and teaching others that in the prepper community we're not all just about hoarding and keeping and we get this bad rap in the whole prepper community that we just hoard up everything, that we buy one of everything, or everything is on the shelf and that we don't want anybody else to have it. And you dispel those rumors by showing people how to donate to others, how to give to others, and not make it more of a charity type of situation where you go and you leave things at the little local drop pantry and things like that. That's good. That's good for us as preppers because we're not the negative that everybody wants us to believe. And I give you a hand on that one right there. That you definitely show the charity that preppers have too, because preppers are very charitable people.
You guys, you guys' hearts are a lot bigger than mine. The only thing I plan on sharing with people are seeds. Specifically freedom seeds, 556. Maybe things like that.
Yeah, it's always good to teach the next generation that you have to be kind. You have to be kind.
You do. You have to remember, I'm in a city as opposed to, you guys are more rural. Um, if something were to happen, I would have to get along with more people. I would have to have a community. I would have to get along with people. There has to be. If something, I mean, I'm close to the outskirts of the city, so I would be able to leave. But if something happened, I would have to have a community. It's not just I'm in a neighborhood. I don't have that option to not close myself off to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and that's just where I'm at. I choose to be in the city, and I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Texas is one of it's a country state, but you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, but still, I'm in a city and I'm surrounded by people, so I have to always be thinking about community. I have to be working on my people now. I don't have a secret bunker in the woods like some people gesture.
Yeah.
So we have to be doing that. I have to, you
So,
know.
Texas Prepper Mom, I wanted to ask too, because you are, within a city area, are you working with other preppers around you? Do you have a circle or like a group of people that maybe you share ideas with or swap stuff with or have a plan to get together if things break bad?
I do have people that I'm working with. I have a couple of coworkers that I work with. I have a couple of friends that I've met through TikTok that are pretty close, that we kind of exchange ideas with. I would like to start expanding on those things, but then there's always that fear that I have of making friends with people that I don't know yet. There's always that danger fear of opening myself up and people taking, there's always that fear. Do you know what I mean? What I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's specifically why I don't tell anybody my name.
yeah, yeah, there's that fear. And even, I mean, I have a husband and I have a son, and as a female, there's even more of a fear. I mean, can I defend myself? Yes, absolutely, I can defend myself. But there's that extra fear. You want to build the community. My neighbors are what we have good neighbors around us. I would love to have an even bigger prepper community here. But to what extent do I do that without bringing more harm to myself? It's a
Calling more
fine line
attention.
to walk. Exactly. It's a fine line to walk.
Yeah. I live in prepper heaven. I mean, like everyone here is a prepper. There's no question about that. So if you say you're a prepper, you're just mixing in with everyone else. But in other communities, it's not like that. Being a prepper in Florida, you're completely, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. So I understand that theory. I can feel your pain on that. I went through that for years.
Right. But definitely, I have amongst my friends, absolutely. At first everyone was like, "What are you doing?" And now with recent events, everyone's like, teach me more." And I'm like, "Absolutely, I will teach you more." So
Right.
everyone's getting more comfortable with it. They tease me about, "Oh yeah, you're that TikToker," and I'm like, "How much have you learned from me?" "A lot. I've learned a lot." "Okay, then I don't want to hear it anymore."
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And everyone's loving my garden, so we're good there. Um, but yes, I mean, there's the dream to build a bigger prepper community. It's just I would want to keep us safe. There's just I have to have that boundary, you know?
Oh no, I totally. Me and Al have talked about that before. I totally agree with you. There has to be that. For me, there has to be a boundary. There has to be a separation. And Al brought up before on the show, like his multiple circles, the inner circle, the outer circle, things like that. But I mean, so Texas Prepper Mom, what you're doing on your channel is so well rounded, right? You're appealing to the homesteader, the prepper, the emergency preparedness guy, the gloomer doomer food preservationist. Like you're doing everything,
Yep,
right?
she is.
And it's awesome content. I don't want to make the other preppers on TikTok jealous, but Texas Prepper Mom's one of the best. You guys got to check her out.
I love how she has it's like a smattering of everything, but yet she doesn't overload you with one specific thing or talk too technical for this or that or the other. It brings so many more people to the table that way because they find something in your content that they like, then they learn something else from your content that they might have not known anything about, and then they want to find out more. So really, I'll give you credit for bringing a lot more people into the table because, first of all, you're a female, okay? So that there's a lot of female preppers out there that are scared to say I'm a prepper, okay?
Right.
You're a mom. You're not this what everybody gets this ideological idea of. It's this white guy living up in the mountains with two shotguns, a dog, a pit bull, and got more bullets than he does flour. So that's good. That brings other people to the table because there are a lot of people and other communities. Like, take for example, I'll say this: people that might be on government assistance up until recently thought they couldn't prep, but there's so many
Right.
preppers out there that are showing people. You've showed people, other people, this is what you can do. This is how you go about doing it, and it's worked. It's been very very beneficial to them. I know it because I've had comments from them before about how the regular everyday preppers have shown them how to do things. So I give you a hand there.
Ah, thank
Uh,
you.
Texas Prepper Mom, I got another question for you about the MREs too. For anybody that's like interested in getting into this avenue, do you find that there's more of a money saving aspect with this versus buying the MREs already made?
Definitely, I do find that because you can make it in lots of different ways. I use freeze dried food. I use Thrive Life. I do it through wholesale. That's what I use is freeze dried food. You can use lots of different foods. You can use dehydrated food. There's lots of different foods that you can use. When I use Thrive Life, I can make it for about, in Wallaby bags with the Thrive Life food, I can make it for about $3 for a meal as opposed to when I buy some of the other foods. I'm not going to name any other names. It can be $8. What are the prices lately that we've seen in stores? $9, $10 for one meal sort of thing. So it can definitely be. I mean, you have to buy, it's a lot of food that you're, upfront food at first because you're buying, X amount of food to make a whole lot of meals at once. Does that make sense? Like I'm buying, here's the meat, and then here's the like asparagus, and here's all the chicken. So I'd be able to make 14 or 15 meals, but each meal is only going to be a couple of dollars, is
Right.
what I'm able to do. So that's how it's able to break down. Um, but that's not for everyone. One of the other aspects that I like is I know exactly what's going into it. We have a lot of people that, they have allergies or they can't have sodium or they can't have, this or that. And so that's one of the reasons why I do that as well. So for me and my family, that works. For other people, that's not going to work, and that's okay. That is completely okay. I like to cook. I like to play with things. For a lot of the meals that are out there, a lot of the MRE meals that are out there, a lot of the freeze dried meals that are out there, I get kind of bored because it's kind of the same things over and over again. There's a lot of the companies that are out there that are coming up, starting to come up with new recipes. I see Ready Wise is starting to come up with some new recipes. That's kind of cool. Um, but I like to cook a little bit. I like to play with things. So that's why I do the Thrive Life Foods because it's all single ingredient stuff. So I've got ground turkey, I've got shredded beef, I've got all sorts of different stuff. I'm just like little experiments here and there. So that's just what I do. I come up with new things. And being in Texas, I got asked to make street corn. So I'm coming up with a street corn recipe, Mexican street corn. So
Oh
that's what I'm
my
gonna be playing.
God, I love Mexican street corn. I got a buddy that makes it. My buddy Grizz that's on the show from time to time. He makes it. It's the best I've ever had.
Yes, so I got some
I
stuff
love
that's
it.
coming in, and as soon as that stuff comes in, I'm gonna be messing with the Mexican street corn recipe because I'm like, yes, that will be awesome.
Well, we always tell people in prepping, don't buy things to eat that you don't like to eat because that's what you're
Yes,
going to be eating in the apocalypse. So it's good that
yes,
if you're going to buy something to eat and you're going to spend the money on it, why not spend the money on something that you're going to enjoy? So you're
exactly.
kind of widening those ideas to people what they might want to eat. You know, I don't want to spend 30 days eating chocolate pudding. I'll be honest with you.
Right.
No, I'm not about that.
Al, I think in maybe a year here, we're gonna see Texas Prepper Mom's face on her own food grade buckets, and she's gonna be
Yeah,
selling
yeah,
Texas Prepper Mom Doomsday food. Is I think what she's gonna be
yeah.
doing here in the next year.
I'm asking
Oh,
for
that'd be awesome.
I'm gonna get a discount code from her before it's over with. I'm
Oh
telling you.
yeah, absolutely.
But I'm proud that she really has taken the ball and run. And I know being a mom and working all those things, that compounds things too. But you've really taken the ball and run. You really have. I'm very proud of that. That you've
Yeah,
just taken it and run.
I was
I
gonna say
could
the same
not
thing.
have done it without you guys. Like
No, that's
I was doing
no.
TikTok just for fun. Like I said, I what really got me started was just seeing some bad info, and I was like, I have to because I do. I work full time. I have a son. I have a husband, and it was just like, okay, let me just put a little bit info out, and then you guys kind of were like, yeah, make more content. Yeah, push it. And then Al pushing me with the live, and this baby bird has just been flying ever since. And
Hey,
I
but have
love
you
the prepper
noticed that the
community.
people that put the bad content out, it's the reason why you got started, that they've gone away? Have you noticed that?
Yes,
They go
they're
away.
gone. I'm
They are like a flash in the pan. They come,
Yep,
they try to rob us of all of our followers or our views, and then they just disappear.
yep.
But, good hard work gets
Oh
rewarded in
yes.
the end. So,
Oh yes. Oh yeah. And
So
I
Texas Prepper.
remember the lives we used to do, and it would just be like the five of us sitting there just talking to one another. And now Jester's lives, he can't even keep up with the
right.
comments. It is just a whole other world.
I can hide in the lives, and he never knows I'm there. I can
Yeah, I
hide
was.
out there. I just ambush him.
I know. I was surprised I seen you last night because I was
Yeah.
like, I wonder where Al's been. I haven't seen him lately. But then,
I
like last
ambush.
night, I was like, there he
I'm
is.
out there. I'm out there. But see, it's great that the whole community's grown to that point. That's what we
Yeah.
wanted. Ultimately, this was never about making money or just having three or four people talk to. This was about building something. It's building. I mean, when you get so many people in your lives that you don't see the people that you normally would see, that's a good thing. That
Yes.
is a good thing. I don't take that as a bad thing because that means there's that many more people trying to learn.
And I'll tell you what, though, too, the cool thing about the lives I've been doing lately, we've gotten very few trolls. Like,
Yep.
there hasn't been many. Like, I average about 100 people in there, and I know that's not a lot for some of these bigger TikTokers, but the 100 or so we have in there are like there for the information and they're sharing information and they're not trolling. They might just sit back and listen and they might not comment anything till we're about done. And I didn't even know they were in there.
Do you know
They're
that?
just sitting there and listening.
Do you know why that is? Because it's other so-called preppers and their followers and minions that were the trolls,
Mm-hmm.
and they've gone away now. So the trolls have gone away. That's a fact.
I'm the
It's a
only troll in there now.
There you go.
So
It's
Texas,
funny because I'll say things sometimes and people will think I'm picking on you, and I'm like, I am picking on him, but we're friends.
Yeah.
right?
I'm a
No, but
moderator.
yeah, you're modded in there. Yeah. So Texas Prepper Mom, there was another question. There was two other questions I wanted to cover with you while you're in here. Um, so outside of the Texas freeze, outside of that completely, when you really got into this, where did you feel you were lacking? What was like one area you really wanted to put your focus into prepping? Hey preppers, do you want 10% off survival food? Go to www.readywise.com and use code DOOM10 at checkout for 10% off all your survival food needs. Again, that's code DOOM10 at checkout at readywise.com, DOOM10 for 10% off at readywise.com.
Let's see. Food storage is always where I was trying to focus. Like I always was working on Mylar. Like that's always where my focus has been. Because I've always have been learning on it and stressing on it and learning and experimenting with it. So that's always what I've been working on. So that is where I was strong. But as far as where I was like lacking, I would definitely say where I was lacking would definitely be, let's see, not water, not, I have medical down. Where am I lacking? You know what I lack in is comms. I am not good with comms. That is where I need to work on. Um, that's something that I've never like. If something were to really happen, I have not taken the time to learn anything about like yes, we have walkie-talkies, but as far as anything past that, I don't know anything. So I want to learn. That is like my challenge to myself. That's the only thing I'm intimidated by.
That's
So I,
that is understandable. I know when people are getting into this, they do get a little bit intimidated. I'm still intimidated by ham radios. I'm good with the
yeah.
CBs and the two ways and things like that, but the hams are something. And I mean, I've used these on the job. But
Ah,
I don't know all the programming and stuff like that. Like I'm not a wizard with these things. I wish I knew more. I might end up taking a course. We'll see what happens.
yeah. And there's just so many options, and everybody has their opinion on what's what, and then it's just so conflicting from everybody to the next. And I'm like, I want a Texas Prepper Mom for that. Can someone not overwhelm me with
Yeah.
that? Because there's just so many things, and I don't know it. So that'll be eventually. I'll have to take to battle that. Yeah.
Got you. So another question I had for you too is because we are coming up on our time frame here, but what's the biggest prep you're working on right now? Where's your primary focus lane in the moment?
I picked up I picked up baby quails today. Because we are trying to become as self-sufficient as possible. So that is what we are working on. We are working on food. Okay, we are doing that as much as possible. So I did mention that I am a nurse, so I'm very well rounded with a lot of our preps. I've been working on a lot of our preps for years. Our biggest overall, and I'm going to say worry, our biggest worry overall with everything going on in the world right now, with supply chain and everything else, is food. I think that is everyone's worry. Can y'all pretty much agree on that? I think it's just food.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I could agree with that.
So we've got our backyard garden like tripled this year. My backyard garden is huge. And I told my husband, we are getting quail this year. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the crazy person with quail. So I picked up quail this today. I literally picked up 9 baby quail. Like I said, I live in the city. In my city, quail are totally okay to have. I can actually have chicken if I wanted in my city. I can have up to 8 chicken. One of them could be a rooster. But I didn't want to do that just because I do have kind of a smaller backyard. So we went with quail. So food is my focus for this year. I am comfortable with the rest of my preps. I'm always adding to the rest of my preps. Always, always building, building, building as far as water and lights and heat. Everything's always multiplying, always multiplying. I'm always adding more storage areas for the rest of my preps. But food, because of the current situation, food is the main focus for us. I, like most of y'all, backups to backups to backup to
Right.
backups. So yes, I have long-term food storage. Yes, I have Mylar bags of my dry foods. Yes, I have emergency foods. Yes, I have freeze-dried foods. But that is not enough for me. I want to be able to grow my food. I want to have those quail. I want to be able to have eggs. I want to have meat. I know that if something were to happen, eventually the food that I have stored would run out. You can only store so much food if something were to really happen. So I would want food that, would be able to replenish.
Right. Being
And
able to replenish your supply.
And if nothing ever happened, at least it would be a fun backyard adventure for me and my son. You know, something to learn.
Absolutely. And Texas Prepper Mom, before we get out of here, do you have anything you want to plug, website or an email, or go ahead plug the TikTok?
Yeah, I do have my TikTok. I'm Texas Prepper Mom. So I do have a code for Wallaby. It is I'm trying to think what my code is right now that we can get $5 off on Wallaby. I think it's TX Prep Mom 5. That's going to get you $5 off at wallaby.com for your Wallaby bags, Mylar bags. And then I do sell the Thrive Life. So I do have a website for that. So that is going to be, um, if you go to my TikTok, I do have a beacon in my bio that will take you to my website as well. So if you're interested in that freeze-dried food, like I said, if you are looking to make your own MREs or any of your food, you can definitely go there, and it's just single food. There's beans on there as well. There's so much food. I mean, I am just blown away at all the food that is on there. It is amazing. And I've got a code there as well. That one is Text Prep Mom Thrives, and that is 5% off of your order there that you can use for that as well. So I think that's all the plugs that I have. You
Gotcha.
keep adding them, and there's just
Oh no, yeah, no, I see how people as they grow, they just get more and more. But Texas Prepper Mom, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on, but
I
thank you
know.
so much for joining me and Al today.
Yes.
Oh, thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
And then Al,
Without you
if you want to,
guys, I would not be here, and I mean that honestly. You guys supported me from the beginning.
aw,
Well, we appreciate it, and we're going to continue to support you too.
absolutely, 100%. Al, do you got any final thoughts before we're out here? You want to take us out?
I'm just very proud to see the great community that we're building, and she's been one of the bedrocks of the community that we've built, and I'm very proud. And we just got to keep building. If you want to be part of this community and you're out there listening to this podcast or watching our social media, you need to get a hold of us. Get a hold of us with the emails. Let us know if you got ideas for stories or anything else. Just get a hold of us. We love to hear from the people that we talk to. The people that listen to this podcast. You're the reason we do this.
Oh, absolutely. And the email Al speaks of is itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com. You could find Al on TikTok at big_daddy_prep. And you can find me on there at It's Doomsday Podcast 2.0. And that's it, guys. We're out of here. Once again, thank you, Texas Prepper Mom.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
This is an emergency action message. At approximately 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, NORAD is tracking 15 ICBM nuclear missiles inbound to the following cities: Orlando, Miami, Pittsburgh, Dover, Newark, Richland, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, Detroit. This is an extremely deadly situation. Stay tuned. The next emergency message will be a presidential address.